On this episode of Fit with Mitch TV, you're going to learn how to punch procrastination in the face. Hey guys, it's your fitness coach, Mitch Graves, with episode 12 of Fit with Mitch TV, back again. We're going to talk about how to punch procrastination in the face and get your butt off the couch, get into action, and get moving. And we're going to talk about that evil P word, procrastination. Yes, procrastination happens to even the best of us. Even I sometimes procrastinate when it comes to my workout. And so in this episode, I'm going to show you the 5 tips that I use on myself and my clients to get us into action. But tip number 0 is to not identify yourself as a procrastinator. So if you've been saying that I'm a procrastinator, then guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Just like if you say to yourself, I'm a failure, guess what you're going to do? You're going to fail more often. But if you say to yourself, I'm a person who occasionally procrastinates, instead of I'm a procrastinator, then that changes the game. So that's like tip number 0, but let's jump into the 5 tips. Okay, so tip number 1 is overcoming your fear of perfection. Perfection. Yes, the thought that we have to be perfect is probably the one biggest thing that holds a lot of people back from even getting started when they work out. I said the fear of perfection holds a lot of people back from ever getting started. And so if you think that you have to be at your destination or that you have to know everything, you have to be perfect before you ever get started, man, you never get started. That's like saying you have to be in LA before you leave New York to get to LA. Like, how does that happen? No, perfection comes from starting. Perfection comes from perfecting along the way. So overcome your fear of perfection. Nothing is perfect before it's ever started. You just got to get started to be perfect. Reason number 2, you might be procrastinating, still sitting there, is your fear of being incompetent. Yes, incompetence. Another big fear that holds people back from ever getting started is incompetence. They feel like I have to know how to lift the weights, or I have to know how to use the machines, or I have to know all the ins and outs of the gym before I ever get started. Or if I go in there, I'm not going to know what to do. And so I'm afraid to get started. And guys, we fall into this same trap. We just lift weights all the time. That's our wheelhouse. Ladies, you fall into that trap. You just run all the time. That's your wheelhouse. And we never cross over. We never do the things that are going to make us grow. And so in order to push into the areas of growth, you have to push into those areas of incompetence. It's okay. You can grow into that, because here's the tip. You only become competent by doing. And so if you don't know how to do something, ask somebody. It's okay. They're not going to bite. Ask a trainer. Ask somebody at the gym. Ask a friend. Watch some YouTube videos. Read some manuals. Do what you got to do, but overcome that fear of incompetence, because it's in incompetence that you're going to find growth. And you only become competent by doing. Another big reason people don't start or don't procrastinate is feeling from this sense of overwhelm. It's just so big and overwhelming. You might have this goal to run a marathon, or to have this goal to get a 6-pack abs, or have this beach body. You want 16-inch arms. You want to lose 30 pounds. You want to get toned. You want to get rid of those Batwoman arms, those Batgirl arms. Whatever it is for you, you're looking at that goal and you're saying, man, it's so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. Well, the reason you feel overwhelmed is because of what you're focusing on. The way to get over overwhelm is to change your focus. So to change your focus from something big to something small. And so there's an old saying, you might have heard of it, that says the way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So chunk that big goal down into bite-sized pieces. And so if your goal is to run a marathon, I'm going to use that as an example. If your goal is to run a marathon, eventually, right, by a certain date, then what do you need to do this week? How many miles do you need to run this week? If your goal is to lose 30 pounds in 6 months, okay, chunk that down to 21-day segments or 90-day segments. What is your goal for 90 days? What is your goal for 30 days? What is your goal for this week? Or here's the biggest thing. What's your performance goal for today? What can you do today? So in order to overcome overwhelm, is to change your focus from something big to something small. What can you do right now? People say, well, it's overwhelming, it's so big, I don't know where to start, so I won't start at all. No. Niche down your focus, start on something small, focus on that. Put the shoes beside the bed, put the workout clothes on. Do what you gotta do, but focus on something small and controllable. Another great way to get yourself started is to think about what's at stake if you don't get started. This is going to create massive psychological leverage in your brain right now. It's going to light a fire under you to get you into motion right now. So think about what's it going to cost you if you don't move, right? What's it going to cost you if you don't get started? And so a question I like to ask my clients and ask myself, even when I'm not doing anything, is to say, look, if I lived every day of the rest of my life like today, what would the rest of my life look like? That's a scary thought. Especially if you're in pain right now. If you have some type of chronic pain or something like that, think about if you don't get moving, what's your life going to look like in a year, 5 years, 10 years? And feel the weight of that. What's at stake? It might be heart disease. It might be cancer. It might be an early death. It might be the feeling of low energy. It might be of loss of time and playing with your kids. It might be loss of production at work. What's at stake for you if you don't get started? Think about that and feel the weight of that. That's going to light a fire under your butt to get you off that couch right now. Okay, tip number 5 is the reverse of tip number 4. So what's to gain? What's to gain if you get started right now? So tip number 4 is about pain. Tip number 5 is about pleasure. What are you moving toward? What are you moving away from? But what are you also moving toward? So you have to get a very clear picture in your mind of what do you stand to gain if you get started? Do you stand to gain those biceps? Do you stand to gain get rid of those bat arms? Do you stand to gain to lose to fit into that dress? Do you stand to gain to show your boys on the beach? What do you stand to gain by that sense of feeling, of accomplishment, of discipline, of I did it? You deserve that, first of all, but what do you stand to gain if you get started right now? Okay, so that's episode 12 is in the books. How to punch procrastination in the face. Get your butt off the couch and get started right now. This whole episode has been about motivating you into action. Number 1, get over your fear of perfection. Your need for perfection. Number 2, get over your fear of incompetence. You become competent by doing. Number 3, get rid of your sense of overwhelm. Stop focusing on something so big and focus on something small. What do you stand to lose? What's at stake if you don't get started right now? How much pain is coming your way? Because it's coming if you don't get moving. Your body was designed to move. And what do you stand to gain if you get started? What's the great outcome that you're looking forward to? Get very crystal clear on that. So that's it for episode 12. Episode 13, we're going to talk about how successful people think. How fit people think versus how unfit people think, right? And so we're going to look at the difference between that and how you can adopt a fit thinking. All right, guys, remember to subscribe in the box below. Subscribe to keep up to date for all the episodes that are coming your way. I look forward to seeing you in the comment box. All right, guys, that's it for episode 12. Remember to live, learn, grow, and glorify. Later.